But we move to this now, where Patricia De Lille says DA Leader Mmusi Maimane is getting the same medicine he once served to her. The Good Party leader says she warned Maimane against working with those who'd someday want him out. Now, this comes as some of the DA's federal executives are preparing to defend the party leader. But our reporter Samkele Maseko joins me now with more. Samkele, I mean, those are quite some strong views there coming from Patricia De Lille, saying that Mmusi Maimane is basically getting a taste of his own medicine.
Indeed, and Patricia De Lille is not the only former DA leader and current DA leader who's making those sentiments or has that particular perspective about Mmusi Maimane, basically saying that those he once worked with within the Democratic Alliance are the ones who are now conspiring and conniving in order to remove him as the Democratic Alliance leader. Earlier on this year, before the general elections, there were those Democratic Alliance leaders who were making comments that they are hearing murmurs that even before the DA's Congress, which took place last year at the Tshwane Expo Center, that there were moves to remove Maimane after his election, dependent on how the Democratic Alliance performs in this year's general election. Obviously, the Democratic Alliance, they dropped a little bit and came out with about 22% of the electoral vote in these general elections, thus not winning the Gauteng, the economic hub of the country, which they set themselves out for. But Patricia De Lille, the former DA mayor in the city of Cape Town, believes that Mmusi Maimane is getting a taste of his own medicine. Let's just listen to what she had to say.
What goes around comes around. He is now actually feeling the same, he's getting the same medicine that they gave to him to dispense to me. They are now dispensing that same medicine to him. And if he had listened at the time when I told him that you are working with them to get me out, you are their spokesperson of this cabal. One day the cabal is going to turn on you, and it's exactly what has happened.
What advice would you give him on how to try to rectify the situation and fight on?
I've got no advice for him. He must fight his own battles.
I mean, some critics may say these are just former, disgruntled members of the DA. Let's come to the federal executives now. Do they have a say? Have they said anything regarding this matter?
We've had an engagement with some members of the federal executive. I've spoken to about 3 or 4 provincial leaders, one of them being John Moody of Gauteng, who sits in the FedEx. He basically says that this is an attempt of a coup within the Democratic Alliance, and he says that he's got no proof of it as yet, but there are signs that FedEx member Mike Waters is behind the smear campaign against Mmusi Maimane, saying that it was Mike Waters in the last federal executive who stood up and complained about the car that was donated by Steinhoff and Mmusi Maimane's house, where he stays with his family and where all of these fringe benefits are coming from, and saying that there needs to be an investigation. John Moody goes on to say that a few days later, you see the very same allegations, the very same comments which were made inside a FedEx meeting, which is very confidential, now finding its way to a certain individual in the Institute of Race Relations, which has been pretty much seen as a de facto faction within the Democratic Alliance, headed by former leaders of the party. John Moody goes on to say that even though Mmusi Maimane has made the call of an early elective conference, that is most likely to happen if it gets the necessary numbers in the coming Federal Council of the Democratic Alliance between the 18th to the 20th of October. But the Federal Council does not have the powers to remove Mmusi Maimane as the Democratic Alliance leader, but it can make a recommendation or ask him to step down, and the onus is then on Mmusi Maimane as an individual. Either he steps aside or he continues, but it looks as if Mmusi Maimane is gearing up for a fight, and he's got his boxing gloves on and is coming out swinging. But let's just listen to what John Moody had to say.
I can't prove that. I can't prove that and I can't say it, but there's rumors that that be the case. And the person needs to understand, where does this man come from and what is his intentions. He lost the position of Deputy Chief Whip in the National Assembly, and apparently that is why he has his knives out for Mmusi. Apparently that is why he is upset. He has refused to take up any position as a shadow MEC, a shadow minister in Parliament. Tells you that the man, as I have experienced him to be, he can't accept a democratic process and outcome. he'll rather go into opposition, even within his own party.
All right, then, Samkele, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for, of course, that particular update. Well, it's